Gopala Astrology channel, where the science meets astrology for common man's understanding. Subscribe and stay tuned to this channel for continued astrological updates. Hello, Gopala Astrology channel, ladies and gentlemen, once again. And tonight we are going to have a very interesting video about Gautam Adani and his horoscope analysis. So today you just go to Google, and the highest searched name nowadays is Adani, especially because of a lot of financial news that is coming about him and his company. All right. So I thought of making a video about this gentleman who is really going through a lot of ups and downs, especially in the last 10 days. All right, so I'm making this video on the 5th of February. By now, a lot of changes has happened, of course, and it is likely to change in a big way in the coming future. All right, so I will be using the classical astrological chart of Gautam Adani. I've got the exact time and date of birth and place of birth and all that. And I'm going to also analyze through the outer planet astrological system, right? So there is a greenstone logos, gray lizard avatar of Pluto has really impacted people like Gautam Adani and Anil Ambani and those people who lost big amount of money, right? So in the last 10 days, we are hearing that more than $120 billion of Gautam Adani has been plunged just based on one particular piece of paper, a report made by Edinburgh. It's a financial analysis company based in New York. All right. So this will be a very interesting news and discussion about his chart and his life history in a very brief way, of course. And I will be throwing more importance on gray lizard avatar of Pluto. If at all you are new to this channel, please click on the subscribe button right there, and then you will get all the latest updates about my channel. All right. So let's go to the actual video, my friends. All right, friends, let me share my screen here, and we will get into the presentation that I have been using for this. All right. So the title is very clear. Gautam Adani's horoscope analysis, the gray lizard avatar of Pluto. What is this gray lizard avatar? Many of you guys are new to this terminology, and those who have been following up with me on the modern astrological charts introduced by Greenstone Logo, you already know what exactly I'm talking about. So please understand that this is a very important new knowledge sharing that is going on, and you all must understand that Pluto plays a very important role, especially when it is going through gray lizard avatar, and I'm going to specify those years of birth. And the people who have been born in those years, you can always check out your own horoscopes, and you will always see that there is a lot of ups and downs in your lives, and you feel that you are going through a lot of tough times. Okay, so I'm not delaying much. I'm going to just give a brief introduction about Adani himself. Adani was born on 24th of June 1962. It was 5:15 a.m. in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. All right, so this is the accurate date and time of birth, I believe, and then it matches with most of his life patterns, right? So this is the correct horoscope, and this is young Adani, and he was born to in a very normal and ordinary family of Shantilal Adani. The father and mother was Shantiben Adani. All right, so he went on to try his schooling, and he was not a very good academician. Okay, somehow he tried to pursue his BCom, Bachelor of Commerce degree, and I'm not very sure whether he completed it or not. In the meantime, please understand that Gautam Adani's father was a very ordinary person. So that means he is the first generation billionaire in his family. It is not a family which has contributed everything to his wealth. So everything is hard-earned money of Gautam Adani as of now. Okay, and he has got 7 siblings who are born along with him, you know, and this is the cute little family of Gautam Adani himself. He has got 2 sons and a granddaughter as well. Anyway, so he was married in the late 80s to a dentist. Her name is Preeti Adani. and they have a very good family life, and together they have been doing a lot of great job so far. That's what has been heard. There is no much scandals or anything like that. So he has lived a very good, pretty rich life after really getting into the next level. Okay, so the one of the peak periods of Gautam Adani is he was ranked world number 2, richest, second richest person in the world in the billionaires list. So this is really the peak period of Gautam Adani. So there are a lot of things in the net. You can always go and find out more details about it. Even his house, which is there in New Delhi, is much bigger than Antilia, which is the house of Mukesh Ambani, right? So there is a lot of things going on in his life, and in my opinion, there's a list of things. You can see that Gautam Adani reached almost $134 billion. And he stood third, and I think it even went to the second in the September 2022. So this list keeps fluctuating all the time, and then yeah, you can always track this. But now, unfortunately, he has dropped down to 17th position, right from the 3rd position, right? So let's try to understand a little bit more. And he has been living a very, very comfortable life now. He has got 3 jets. This is just few things I have just taken, collection of cars, whatnot. He has got what type of car you mentioned. He has it, Rolls-Royce cars and all that, right? So I'm just putting it here to just show you that he's living a very royal life. Just a quick glimpse of what all the things that happened to him after he tried to graduate in the Bachelor of Commerce degree. So he went on, I think he was not very keen in academics alone. And so he wanted to make some money. He went on to go to Mumbai in 1978. He started working as a diamond sorter for Mahindra Brothers, right? So he was doing that job in a jewelry shop, which was dealing with diamonds and things like that. So it didn't work out much well. 1970, 81, he brought even his brother, and he started doing some plastic units and a lot of things he started trying. He was a man of ideas in business, right? So he had nothing much, but still he started to grow in a way that it's very astonishing, right? So there are so many other things that went on in his life. I don't want to go to the details. So all that I would like to say is the real lucky time happened after the breakthrough in 1995, right? So he started getting Adani ports, and Mundra port is one of the largest private sector port in India. And then he went on to do well with the Chief Minister of Gujarat at the time, 2001, 2002, during the time of Narendra Modi. He helped him in a way to. There's a big story about it. I don't want to talk about any political things here. So he got into very good relationship with Narendra Modi, I can say that. And then his life went on in a big way. After 2006, 2012, 2020 was the peak. So he got into all types of green energies and whatnot. So all this is available in the web, and you can always, if you are interested, you can go through this. So all that I am very interested to know, I want to tell you is this one slide here. So this is just taken today, a screenshot from Google. Just take the example of Adani Enterprise itself. Even after 10 days of so much of zoop falling down of the shares, even then, if you compare the 5-year chart, I have just put a 5-year chart here, his growth is 628.7%. That is astonishing, right? So even if you have removed the wealth that he lost last 10 days, compared to the position where he started 5 years ago, and then you can see there is a 600 times his wealth has multiplied. So that's the amount of money that he earned, So there are big numbers here. So I don't want to speculate anything, but I'm very sure $100 billion is lost in 10 days. That's easily we can say this. Plus minus, it is always there, So that means a huge amount of money has been lost in the last 10 days. Why is this all happening, and what is going on in traditional Vedic astrology chart of Gautam Adani? As I told you, he was born on 24th of June, 1962. All right, so it comes into the Vrishabha Lagna, or the ascendant of Taurus. So he has got Mercury right there in the ascendant. This is what gives him a lot of business ideas. That means the second Lord Mercury, the second house is the house of wealth, and that comes to his ascendant. So that is one of the very strong points of this horoscope. And then there are so many other yogas that this particular chart makes. I'm just now going to focus on two negative things that is happening to Adani right now. Okay, so he's running through this 7.5 years period of Saturn. Okay, and this is just Gochara Phalam. This is 25% of what is going on, but the remaining 75% we will look at is dashas and antardashas and also pratyantara dasha. All right, so looking into this chart, so the moon is right there in Aquarius or Kumbha Rashi. The Saturn just transited from Capricorn to Kumbha Rashi or the Aquarius zodiac sign on the 17th of January 2023. What a coincidence, friends. So it is so critical that this transit has brought a big storm in his life, I can say. All right, so of course he was going through Kalasarpa dosha right from the birth, and that's the reason why the first 35 years of Adani was very ordinary. He had to suffer a lot. He lived a very simple life. Even if you try to Google all his details before 35, you don't get much, because he must have been a very ordinary middle-class person. That's very evident from the Kala Sarpa dosha. Right, so now we know that 7.5 years period of Saturn is in peak for him. Always please remember, I have made videos wherever the natal moon is there, whenever the Saturn goes plus minus 30 degrees, especially plus minus 15 degrees, it becomes a very critical period for anybody, right? So he always gives, before that in the 11th house, he gives a lot of wealth, and once it comes into the particular position, there will be a lot of ups and downs. Okay, so that is to be understood here. And then what I wanted to say is just to take a look at his Mahadasha, Antardasha, and also Pratyantardasha. These are the time periods which are very important to consider. He started his Venus Mahadasha, Shukra Mahadasha, in the year 2014. Okay, it started, and that will go for normally 20 years. So for classical astrology, they consider Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? Shukra. So Lagnadipati himself rules, means he should be comfortable, right? But actually speaking, as per Greenstone logo, we have made it very clear that Lagnadipati for Taurus ascendant is planet X, Kuvera, and Venus happens to be the ruler of his 6th house, Libra or Tula Rashi, right? So 6th Lord started his Mahadasha. And so please understand, 6th Lord is there in the 3rd house along with Rahu. So when the real problem started for him is Venus Mahadasha, then Rahu Antardasha, 2022 second, 1st February 2022, Rahu started taking over. Okay, so under the influence of Saturn when it came, so a lot of people started eyeing on him. Right, so Rahu took him to the peak, 3rd house. Okay, Rahu took him to the peak. Rahu is anything that happens suddenly to the people is Rahu. Okay, this is what we learned from our classical Vedic astrology, right? So Rahu started pushing him up, because Rahu, according to the classical astrology, is the ruler of Aquarius, and the Aquarius happens to be the 10th Lord. 10th Lord in the 3rd house made him to work very hard. He went on to acquire a lot of business, especially in the middle of 2022. And that's why, because of this Rahu's initial push, he even went on to become the second wealthiest person on this planet, right? So that's what happened. And then, you can see the anticlimax right now, that Saturn took over, and Saturn is the planet which is in Vakri position for him. So whenever the Vakri planet comes into the Pratyantardasha or Antardasha, there will be some sudden tailspin, and it is always there. It depends on which house it is, and Saturn happens to be his Bhagyadipati. That means the Lord of 9th house. When Lord of 9th house is already in retrograde position, and when he takes over Pratyantardasha, he's going to give some surprises. And that's exactly what happened to him in this period now. So that means from now, especially the December 2022 into the May 2023, he's going to have a very, very bad time, because Rahu and Saturn are negative planets, and then 6th house lord is Venus, and Venus Mahadasha is going on, so it is all aligning itself to cause some problems for him. This is exactly the analysis that we need to know as per classical astrology. All right. So let's, I mean, of course, the palm lines, I will always, I just took this picture, and you can see that the Saturn line here is very, very minimum. You know, this is actually called the continuous source of income. What do you mean by continuous source of income? That means on the first of the month, the salary is deposited to your ICICI account, for example, right? That is the one. That means you are working for a concern, and they are paying for you on a regular periodic basis. That is the line, that is what is seen here as a continuous source of income line or Saturn line. So for this person, it just stopped much before 35, and then he don't have that continuous source of income line. That means what? That means he's going to be an entrepreneur, he's going to give jobs for thousands of people, right? So please understand this quick understanding of fate line. So it doesn't mean that all people who have the long fate line, that means that they cannot become a businessman. I'm not saying generalizing that, but definitely this man came from a very humble background. We can see that very, very clearly. And his mount of Venus is extremely good. And that's why he rose to the higher level. All right. So now my interesting topic is going to come, where the research work of Mr. Greenstone Logo is going to come in. All right. So please understand, always I use this chart here. The Taurus is ruled by planet X. All right. So that is where the Gautam Adani's ascendant is lying. Okay. Please understand, the Libra is the only place where the Venus has got ownership. Now, on this right-hand side, we have to pay a lot of attention. Especially Pluto is a very, very important planet, because it represents Mahakal Shiva himself. Okay, Lord Shiva is actually the Pluto. That's what I strongly believe. And wherever Pluto sits, he is going to make and break, you know. So he is going to constructively destroy that house for anyone. All right, so that's what is happening to Gautam Adani, and especially he comes under the category of gray lizard. So what is this gray lizard, and what is the details of it? Let me tell you that in a brief way. See, for example, in any chart, if you see the Pluto is getting exalted, or in its own house, or it in a better position, we always have to consider 2 degrees of that thing. I'm just putting here as Leo, because Leo is the place where it gets exalted. Deep exaltation of Leo, of Pluto happens in Leo, and at 2 degrees, we call it as eagle avatar. The people who are born in this 2 degrees, between 0 and 2 degrees, they will be always like eagle, like Narendra Modi. You can take the example of Rajinikanth and all that. They come from a very, very ordinary background, but they fly very high like eagle. They are always above the clouds. They don't care what is happening below. They do their karma and become very, very famous. You know, that's the beauty of Pluto with eagle avatar. Whereas there is an unfortunate patch here. It is defined by Greenstone Logo as a gray lizard patch. It will be very, very bad at 10 degrees, especially if it is Leo, right? Of course, it is applicable to other zodiac signs. I'm going to tell you about it, but critical point here is the gray lizard avatar happens at 10 degrees. So now, what will happen to these people? I'm going to just show you the details here. And of course, let's not talk about the Scorpion avatar of Pluto. We are just going to focus tonight mainly on gray lizard avatar. That means between 8 and 13 degrees precisely, if the Pluto is there in the horoscope, and especially in the zodiac sign of Leo or Libra, where it gets debilitated deeply, and also in Sagittarius, it gets debilitated deeply. So during these periods, I have even mentioned the years, 1957, people born in late 1957, that means more towards the last quarter of 1957, October, November, December time frame, and then the middle of 1962. That is where the gray lizard patch of Leo is very, very strong. So people born in this time zone are really the ones who go into a peak at one point of time and also fall down very badly. So they have to pay for they are paying the bad karmas in an accelerated way, right? So that's what is happening. And even this happened in 1984 to 1986. And Sagittarius, it went on, and then it was for a couple of years, 2009 to 2011. So these special children, I call them as special kids of gray lizard avatar of Pluto. They have to have these exceptional karmas being wiped out in one lifetime. So people like Sanjay Dutt, if you are an Indian watching this video, definitely you know who is Sanjay Dutt, what happened to him. Even though he was a superstar, he had to go through the jail and so many things. And you know what happened to Diego Maradona. If you are a football fan, you know how he had a miserable death. And if you are a fan of music and dance, you know what happened to Michael Jackson, right? And you follow the royal family of the British, what happened to Princess Diana. I have made a video about that as well. So those people who are really born between 1957 and 1962, they have to go through this period. So a lot of things is explained. This is Pluto's an imaginary image that is being put up in the web. So I just thought of putting it here. So important thing is that the people born under the gray lizard avatar of Pluto have to go through extraordinary tough moments. So that's what happens. They will be in some kind of a scandal or the other. People, many times I can say the police will be behind them. You take if you know about many people like Sanjay Rawat, and then talk about DK Shivkumar from Karnataka. All these people are always being chased by police because they will be having some kind of scandals or the other, whether they are really involved in that or not, but somehow police and law will be always behind them. So that's the real thing that is explained by Greenstone logo. Let's look into the actual outer planet chart of Gautam Adani. So superb ideas, you will get it when you follow this, right? Ascendant is the ruler of this ascendant is actually planet X. It goes and sits in the second house of wealth accumulation. And that's what he did. He got a lot of wealth from planet X. And also there is an exchange of the second Dhana Lord. Second Lord Mercury comes into the first house. So there is an exchange between, it is called Parivartana Yoga. So the first Lord sits in the second house, second Lord sits in the first house. That means he is going to be, second house also shows your own hard-earned money, savings of yours. So that means he earned a lot of money and also made a lot of savings on his own. Okay, that's very important to understand. So look at Pluto. Pluto happens to be the Lord of seventh house. Seventh Lord sits in the fourth house. What is seventh house? Seventh house represents others, right? So that means he's very much interacting with others to build his business. Seventh house is also showing business. So all that business related and others related matters is ruled by Pluto, and it goes and sits in the fourth house of motherland. So that means he gets, motherland is going to support him, the government is going to support him. All right, so all that thing he got the benefit because of this Pluto being placed in the exaltation house of Leo. So all this is a very good starting time. We can say it's a plus point until it goes into a particular period wherein the Pluto is going to push him down, So that's what is expected to happen. And then he has got the enemies in the sixth house, Neptune. 11th Lord goes to the sixth house. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So 11th Lord in the sixth house shows a lot of competition will come to him in the process of gaining profits, right? So he has got a Gaja Kesari Yoga here, Moon. This is actually Moon. Jupiter and Moon happens to be in the 10th house. That forms a very strong Gaja Kesari Yoga. That's why you saw those slides. He has got so many jet planes and what type of cars you mentioned, it is there in his garage, right? So that is all because of Gaja Kesari Yogam. And 9th Lord is in the 9th house. It is in a very positive way. Of course, it is a retrograde Saturn. You can always see Saturn with R there. So the luck only came in the second half of his life. That's very, very clear. Even the enemies also came to him in the second half of life. The first half of life, he was not having any profit. 11th house was really nothing for him. So in the second half of life, he got all that profit. So the Neptune is in a favorable position, I can say, in a way. He's going to defeat his competitors and he's going to make labam, right? So now what is happening? What is that we can literally see? Look at his red planet. What is red in his horoscope? See, all happens to be either green or black, right? The only red planet I am seeing here is Uranus. Uranus happens to be his 10th lord going into the 4th house. That means eventually the Uranus is going to give him big trouble. So that is what is my analysis actually, other than the Pluto being there in the grey lizard avatar, which of course is going to fail. Now, the time period when he is really going to fail and all that is determined by these two planets, especially Uranus and Pluto. So Pluto right now is in the Capricorn, which is actually in the 9th house. So his 7th lord goes to the 9th house. So still it may start stinging him once it leaves the grey lizard avatar. That means if you just take a look at this particular slide here, I've just taken the actual position of outer planets on January 24th. The day when the Hindenburg report came in, right? Look at what happened to Pluto there and look at Uranus. So Pluto is at 4 degrees in Capricorn. It is still in the eagle avatar. The moment it comes to closer to 8 degrees, that is where his downfall is going to happen. And we are expecting this. And then when it reaches 10 degrees of Capricorn, we are going to see the complete downfall of Adani. That's what we were all expecting. But a sudden thing happened, and it is falling more than what we expected. Right. So we means I'm talking about the followers of Greenstone logo. We really thought that the downfall of Adani is going to happen in the 2025. Right towards the end of 2024, when Pluto really gets into the grey lizard avatar for him. But whereas it is happening right now because the Uranus, which happens, let's go back to his chart again. This is his chart. So for him, Uranus is really bad. Right, it is in the fall house for him. So Uranus' own house is Aquarius, according to Greenstone logo, and it gets into its fall house in the 4th. So that means this guy is waiting to show his karmic effects for Gautam Adani. So right now it has come to the 12th house of losses. So it is right there in the Aries at 20 degrees as we talk. So that means, see, the karmic effects are going to be always felt. His Karmadipati getting into the 12th house. So 10th Lord coming into the 12th house, whatever that means, whatever action that he is going to perform, if initially he will gain through that karma, and then the same thing is going to pull him down completely. See, only when you get pulled down, only when you are being pulled up, right? So that is the effect that Uranus is doing right now for him. So that's the key point here. And then this loss and sliding down will continue. Okay, at least in terms of Pratyantara Dasha, we saw that until May 2023, he's going to really see the downturn and he will go to the rock bottom. This is what I'm expecting personally. Let's see how it goes. And then when the Uranus really comes and hits into the deep part here in the Aries, like 25 degrees, and he's going to really come down. Okay, and he'll get into normalcy. He may not be so much a billionaire, noted billionaire and all that. He will become he will still have his company and things like that, because his original horoscope is still good, but he may not be a notified celebrity type of a billionaire anymore after this. So there will be a downfall of Adani, and this is going to impact the many people in India in a way who have been under him. Many people have lost their money, and even the government is going to have some kind of trouble. Of course, Indian government is led by a very able leader. They are, of course, going to come out of this. But the story of this downfall of Adani is really, really big. And once the Uranus is going to completely come to the position where it is around 25 degrees in Aries, I'm sure that he will go. And then Sade Sati period also is parallelly going on, the 7.5 years period, and Saturn is going to come within plus minus 5 degrees of his natal moon, and then he will peak down. and then slowly he will come up in a way and then become an ordinary, normal millionaire kind of a businessman. Okay, I don't think he can come and recover pretty soon. It's impossible for him to recover at least for another couple of years. Okay, so whoever have invested in his stocks, please be mindful. Of course, if you are really having big amount, I'm really sorry about that, but still things do happen, right? So these are all the karmic things which are very likely to happen, and then we have to face them bravely. So the karma is like a rubber band, it only stretches as far as, and then it comes back and smack your face. And that's exactly what happened to Gautam Adani on the 24th of January 2023. All right, so that's what I wanted to say in a nutshell. The Heidenberg came in the form of a Yama or a very, very bad Pluto for Gautam Adani, and we are going to see the downfall of him furthermore. It's quite sorry to see that, but unfortunately it has to happen. All right, so if you have any questions, please type it in the comment section. We have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching and subscribing, and let's continue our journey to learn more and more modern astrological chart as well. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.